here where the two graphs are intersecting, you should operate in that region which is about 0.5 to 0.75% excess oxygen. This is where you should ideally aim to control your furnace. Next. Okay. Very simple solution is available in the world market, including Indian market. The old days of offset apparatus and dew point meter and all those things are gone now, and you have got a very reliable, tough soldier called zirconia oxygen probe, which the beauty of zirconia is zirconium dioxide. Zirconia is very faithful to only oxygen ions. It does not detect anything else in a room full of chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine, carbon dioxide, monoxide, and so on. You insert a oxygen probe, it detects only the oxygen. Rest of it is blind. Something like a Hindi cinema style, Bhagavad Gita ki kasam kha ke sach bolunga, sach ke siwa kuch nahi bolunga, kind of thing there. Here this oxygen probe talks only about oxygen and nothing else. And that reliability, and it is totally solid state. There is no moving apparatus. So go on the old days when you would take a balloon and keep on sucking the samples and send it to the laboratory and analyze it with pyrogallic acid or potassium hydroxide and so on. Those days are gone. I used to do it when I was a trainee. This and necessary instrumentation, of course. Probe is only a sensor. It generates signals. Those signals have to be processed and disclosed to you in the terms of oxygen percentage. Next. And these are the three factors which affect your combustion efficiency. One is temperature. When I talk of temperature, not only the soaking zone from where the billet or ingot is going out for rolling or for forging and so on, even the heating zone and preheating zone, and excess air through the furnace. Because scaling does not start only at the soaking zone, it starts from the preheating zone also, where the temperature is generally about 400-500 degrees. Why scaling in a furnace? You tell your bhai who does bhanda gasaying, just roti ka tawa, she ghasofies and keeps it. If he has not dried it, after a few minutes you can see rust forming the layer of your tawa or karchi or whatever it is, made of steel. What is it? It is scale. Only thing is, in low temperature we call it a rust film, in high temperature we call it scale. Both are iron oxide. And since iron is easily oxidizable, even at when you the charging end from the furnace, the billet area, or where batch type you are forging, you are putting ingots here and taking out for the other end, and so on, this scaling can occur. And uncontrolled combustion, which I told earlier. And another one is furnace pressure. If your furnace pressure is negative, allowing the atmospheric air to be sucked in, it is going to cause scaling. Next. This is a typical schematic for a complete rolling mill furnace, and with full control available, temperature control in the soaking zone, in the heating zone, and furnace pressure control, furnace oxygen control, what is going in the flue gas. From that you can give a signal back to the air fuel ratio control and maintain it at the optimum level. Next. Next. Here. This is I think to corroborate with what Professor Altiker was talking, heat treatment. And these all the things are basically blind heating means your per capita energy consumption. If you are doing a heat treatment of say 5 tons per day, small furnace, 5-6 heats, whatever it is there, and it is causing you energy loss due to either overheating or prolonged heating, and excess consumption of carburizing fluid by not taking care what you should have done when you put the charge into the furnace. When you put the charge into the furnace temperature drops to probably about 200-300 degrees, and then again you are boosting it up. When you are boosting it up, some people wait till you reach that Bhagavad Gita of 925 degrees for carburizing. And why don't you start admitting the fluids much earlier? Much earlier, so that you can maintain the furnace atmosphere definitely reducing, so that there is no loss of surface carbon, which is your main critical quality assurance factor. And apart from this control, the consumption of carburizing fluid, you need some system to control the furnace atmosphere. As a professor was saying that how much of carbon you are permitting into the penetrate in that, unless the furnace potential is high enough, depending upon the absorption of carbon into your steel casting or whatever it is, the carbon will not penetrate. And blind heating I talked about earlier, and your furnace cycle, carburizing, diffusion, cycle. There are people who say carburizing, diffusion, again carburizing, again diffusion, soaking, multiple segment and so on. How much of duration? Even today, this zirconia probe, which generates a signal, millivolt signal. Even today, there are a lot of heat treatment shops who put in millivolt controller, they don't put carbon potential control. What is the fallacy in that? Your temperature control, unless you have got a sophisticated PID controller, if you have got on-off controller, the variation plus minus 10 degrees is very easily possible depending upon the furnace inertia and size and the heating element capacity and so on. So many factors affect that. And within the band of plus 10 degrees to minus 20 degrees band, for the same carbon potential, there could be 20 different millivolts. So what are you controlling if you are controlling the millivolt? If you are just controlling millivolt, I want to control only at 1150 millivolts. I am controlling Khuda ki kasam kind of a thing there. What are you really controlling? Are you controlling the potential available in the furnace? This is a question you should ask yourselves. And this is another factor which we find in the Indian furnaces, especially pit type furnaces. Pit type furnaces are invariably two-zone heating, top and bottom. There are bigger furnaces with three-zone heating, top, middle and bottom. And there is a faithful fan on the top of it, no doubt. But despite the convection current, are you sure your temperature is homogeneous throughout the range? If not, some jobs get over-carburized, some jobs get under-carburized. This is where you have to pay attention to the furnace design as well as the homogeneity of furnace. Next. These are mostly operating parameters which I am sure all of you know that. The third bullet is what I was talking about, temperature of admittance of lean gas. If you start admitting your gas there, maybe acetone or whatever you are using, the LPG, whatever you are using at a lower temperature, small quantity. I am not asking you to consume gallons of it, small quantity. Basic idea is the entire furnace atmosphere becomes reducing. So that there is no loss of carbon from the job. And therefore, when it comes to the question of the ultimate carburizing temperature, the additional boost or additional dosage of carbon what you require is very, very nominal. And therefore, you are able to achieve your case depth, you are able to achieve your case carbon in a much shorter time. Instead of say 5-hour cycle, you may be able to achieve it in 4 hours or 4.5 hours. Next. This is a typical cycle, all of you I think know it, I need not elaborate on that. Only thing I try to show what is a multiple segment and if you see the initial stages, there are two dotted curves and one red line curve. The red line curve is the ideal heating slope and the dotted on this side shows very slow heating. Either your heating elements capacity is not okay or the other one is heating elements are too powerful. Too powerful means you are pushing the furnace and at that stage you are consuming a lot of electricity and the current loading of the heating element goes very high and therefore the life of the heating elements gets shortened. Super Kantal, A1, etc. Whatever heating element you use there, if you are forcing a furnace, the heating element life gets reduced and if you are heating it very slowly, your productivity suffers. And you have got multiple segments, carburizing 1, diffusion 1, carburizing 2, diffusion 2, soaking and so on. Next. Somebody thought of animation here. This is for those of you who are getting bored with my talk. Next. This is what I was talking. A typical 3-zone temperature control, top, middle and bottom. How do you regulate this so that all of them are within a narrow band, say T1 minus T2 is equal to T2 minus T3 is equal to T3 minus 1 is equal to or less than 5 degrees. That kind of a achievement is possible with proper sensors and proper controllers. This is called as a intrazonal homogeneity. Homogeneity of temperature, because carbureting atmosphere diffuses because of the fan there. But heat, because of convection, it does not really travel that much there. And at this temperature, about 9 and 20 degrees, bulk of the heat is by radiation, don't forget it. Next. Next. Now go back to the previous one. This is does not need much elaboration, except as I said, the entire architecture of measurement and control in case of heat treatment furnaces as well as reheating furnaces can be summarized, built around to only a zirconia oxygen probe and a microcontroller based system there. It can be programmable, it can be just read out with a signal output or data acquisition, remote display, computer compatibility. These all sales jargon, we will not go into that. Next. The advantage of this are quite obviously. First and foremost thing, the fourth bullet, no more reworks. Let the track record of my heat treatment shop. For the last 25 years I am running this heat treatment shop there is no rework. That kind of a abhiman or pride, we should try to achieve that. And the last two one are basically ISO standard factors, increase customer satisfaction and assurance of high quality. Next.